Hi. So this is Wip'n'Chat week 3 for the Canidae event, and I know I'm super late, and I apologize to. Uh, how many people watched the last one? 13. One of those was probably me, so probably 12 people watched the last one. I know I'm super late. I haven't been feeling good when I get home from work, and I still don't, but because I'm super late, we're just gonna push through it, and hopefully, things will be fine. But if I'm low on energy, that would probably be why. I've been practicing with the pen that you twist to get the putty out that I got from Diamond Art Club. It's okay. I might use my normal cheap pens that I normally use for these Wip'n'Chats because it's smaller and will block less. Um, so I left off on going to Oregon with Ruby, Rosie, and Juniper. I had told the woman's son, just to try and find a home for the big dog that he still needed to find a home for. And I haven't dime painted in a while. This is right, or this is, I know it's upside down, but it's right side up for me working on it. It's just the second, or the last third that, needs to be finished. Anyways, what was I about to say? Oh, goodness gracious, I'm tired. So I was like, try and find a home for the big dog, and we'll talk when I get back. Because I love big dogs, and I really did want a big dog, but I also was not working. uh, I shouldn't have even gotten Ruby the Chihuahua. But I did, and my mom said, "Go get her." So I went and gone and got her. Before I left for Oregon, I had brought up to my mother that there were, what the situation was, that there was still one more dog they needed to find a home for. I would have loved to meet that Pomeranian that found a home first. Shortly after he was looking to find homes for all the dogs, I would have loved to meet that Pomeranian, but he found a home pretty quickly. Any hoozles. So I talked to my mom about it, and I was like, yeah, the neighbor said that they'd take her, and then the neighbors backed out, saying that she was too much, and I was like, when we got June, we were looking for a playmate for Rosie, and obviously June wasn't going to be a playmate for Rosie. Do I need to? Oh, sorry, I boom pulled you. Oh, shooty patootie. Alright, we'll see if this works. Sorry. June wasn't gonna be a playmate for Rosie. Ruby wasn't gonna be a playmate for Rosie. I was like, Mom, we still didn't actually get a playmate for Rosie. That we did not have any younger dogs that were up to the energy of an American Rat Terrier, which is a working breed. And so I was talking to my mom. I was like, yeah, he's still trying to find a home for the big one. I told him to keep trying to find her a home, that I was going to Oregon, and um, I was like, I'm thinking about taking her. I keep expecting my mom to, just throw reason at me, because sometimes I'm just not the most responsible person. I mean, I always handle my business, but my decisions usually are rash and impromptu. So expecting my mom to say, you don't have a job, you got June not that long ago, and then we got Ruby, how many dogs do you want to get in 6 months? no. Um, but she goes, I don't care. And I was like, great. The voice of reason doesn't care. Thanks a lot, voice of reason. So, I go to Oregon. Um, he had sent me a couple pictures. Is that all of the eyes? Sorry, I'm just not up to par today. Um, I, yeah. Go to Oregon, everything's fine. I don't hear too much more from Bryant. I come home from Oregon. I don't send him a text, because I'm like, well, he hasn't texted me, so, maybe he found a home for her, and that's a good thing, right? I didn't need another dog whilst I was unemployed. Um, but then, it was either a week or 2 weeks later, I don't recall. I get a text from him one day, and he's like, hey, do you still want Molly? And Molly was her name. It's not anymore. And oh, let me rewind. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna rewind because I forgot to say this, and I don't feel like starting this video over again. Ruby got her name because I went for weeks trying to find the perfect name for Ruby, and I could not find one. Ruby was one of the names that my mom wanted, because my mom, she likes the more boring names. Ruby, Rosie. I'm sure she'd name all of her dogs after flowers if she could. And so I had really wanted to name Ruby Snow White, because at the time, again, all my dog names come from movie and TV references. At the time, I was watching the Kristen Stewart version of Snow White and the Huntsman over and over again. And my mom just hated the idea of calling Ruby Snow because she was black. And I was like, Mom, you don't understand. One of the beginning scenes in the movie was the narrator talking as the mother, saying, let my child be born with hair as dark as a raven and a soul as pure as snow. Snow White. Right? So Ruby had hair as dark as a raven, and she was really kind. So you could say that she was pure as snow. Her soul was pure as snow. But yeah, my mom, I'll just have to name another dog. That's how Ruby got her name. Is I finally just threw my hands up because my mom wanted two naming dogs, Ruby and Rosie. Ruby. And I also thought about naming her Ava. I like that. My mom didn't like that. My mom didn't like any of the names that I had picked. Stop touching the vacuum. All right, back to Honey Lemon. So, he's like, "Do you still want Molly?" And I was like, yeah, yeah, we can talk about it, because the voice of reason is still intermittently popping into my head that this was a really irresponsible decision. Do I rarely listen to that voice? Hells to the no. I want to end up with so many great dogs if I listen to that voice. Any hoozle. Um, he's like, yeah, Mom passed away. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, Bryant. I'm so sorry to hear that. He's like, yeah, it's okay. He's like, but the bank knows, and Mom had a reverse mortgage on her house, and so the dogs are, Molly's going to the pound, you know. So in my head this whole time, I'm like, how come not one of her three children, Bryant included, why couldn't they have taken any of the animals? Why couldn't they have taken a single animal? One of the dogs, one of the cats, or all the cats. Anyways, and I was like, oh, well, I guess that situation is emergent. And I was like, well, she obviously gets along with small dogs and cats because she lives with both, or she had lived with both till I took Ruby Tuesday. I was like, the most important thing for me is One, I need to know if she's going to get along with Rosie. Just checking the time. And two, I need to know what she's going to do when Chance beats the shit out of her. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, I need to know what she's going to do when my cat attacks her, because it'll happen. I was like, how does she interact with cats there? And he's like, yeah, she pretty much leaves them alone, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, I was like, well, I want to do a meet and greet because I do not have the room to segregate another dog. Dotties are one dog that we have room to segregate, i.e. she lives with grandma most of the time. So I don't have the room to segregate another dog, and obviously returning her is not an option because there is no more home. She technically really didn't have a home because, there's nobody there with her. So, he's like, well, if you want to, bring the dogs over to my mom's house, we can do a meet and greet at her house, because I don't have a fenced-in yard. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that. So, we set a date. I loaded up, June, Ruby, Rosie. Did not load up Dottie. And I drove like the hour and a half, 2 hours to Tenino. I forget exactly how far away it is. And I live in a really rural, sorry, I can't say that word. I never have been able to. Rural area. Where they lived was even more rural. Oh, you can make fun of me. It's okay. I make fun of myself. Rural. Okay. I love the name Rory, but I can't say it. It's like, I would have loved to name my kid Rory, but I can't say it without great difficulty. Okay, so, we go there, and, I meet Brian again, and, I told him that I had, Rosie in the car, and, who else, in June, and I was like, I've got Ruby, who was formerly Rosie, but again, we couldn't have two Rosies, otherwise my mom probably would have kept that name. I was like, I have Ruby in the car too, and he's like, oh, you do? I was like, yeah, and I get her out, and, I'm sorry, I didn't realize Honey Lemon had cut my arm. My apologies. People think I cut myself all the time. It's like, no, my dogs do. It's okay. I'm not self-harming. My dogs are just harming me. I was like, yeah, I've got Ruby. I'm thinking Ruby, because I'm reuniting her with one of her pack members. I think Ruby is going to be ecstatic to see one of her former pack members. I pull her out. I set her on the ground. Ruby's like, oh shit. She starts running towards the house, runs into the house, and runs to her former mom's bedroom and hops onto the bed, and that's where she stays the entire time. She wants not a thing with Honey Lemon, formerly Molly. And I was a little shocked when I got out of the car and I saw Honey Lemon, because Honey Lemon was naked, essentially, except for her shoulders and her head. She, was not covered in hair like the pictures that Brian sent me. So, must have been an old picture. 14 minutes. And he's like, yeah, all her hair fell out from stress, I think. And I was like, and in my head, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to argue with you, but it's probably not stress that made all of her hair fall out. And I was holding June, because June is little and old and a weenie dog, so she's super short, not the fastest. Although I think she's plenty fast, but I was holding June, and every time Honey Lemon would come up to sniff June, June would bite her in the face. That reaction was not totally, surprising. nose is running, apparently. Sometimes my nose runs when I talk. Okay. So I was like, yeah, I mean, it's good to know, what honey lemon will do when June bites her in the face, It's good information to be had. Oops, sorry, I boomed you again. And Rosie's running around, and they're kind of playing together, but Rosie's really overwhelmed because, surprisingly, Honey Lemon has more energy than Rosie did. Um, so, um, I feel like it's going really well, even though Rosie was really overwhelmed, she was using me as protection, using me as a barrier from Honey Lemon. I still felt comfortable taking her, and uh, with the addition of it kind of being an emergent situation that Honey Lemon found a home, I was like, okay, I'll take her. Come to find out that when I had gotten Ruby, that the 3 dogs had been left alone. The 3 dogs and the 3 semi-feral cats had been left alone, had been in that house alone for a month. And he was coming by every other day to give him food, but they were alone, And then since I had gotten Ruby, it had been another month that Honey Lemon was completely alone by herself. I mean, there was 3 cats, but you can't really call them company. So Honey Lemon was completely alone in that house for a month. And before that, she was alone with Ruby for a month. So 2 months in isolation with just him coming by every other day to toss him food. And that made me really sad. And I was like, I can see why a dog would be stressed over that situation, but again, I didn't think that's why her hair fell out. So he's like, yeah, she's been locked up inside the house for the past week because she had run away. And I go, oh, and he's like, yeah, I finally found her, and so I just locked her up in the house so that she couldn't run away. And I was like, well, you told me that she's not fixed. I was like, are there any intact dogs around? And he's like, well, I went and asked the neighbors, and they said their dogs are fixed. And I was like, you know what I don't need when, I don't have a job is 5 dogs. You know what I don't need even more than 5 dogs when I don't have a job is 5 dogs and one of those dogs being pregnant. I was like, shit. And it's post-COVID, so getting in to see the vet is kind of a hard thing to do. You're waiting for months and months and months. For my vet, it's a 6-month waiting list just for an office visit. So I'm like, shit. He's like, I don't think she's pregnant. And it's like, dude, for both our sakes, I hope she's not pregnant. Because things are going to get bad, So I take Honey Lemon home, and I asked mom if she wanted to go with me to meet Honey Lemon, but my mom's out. Last couple times, my mom's been like, no, it's your dog. You're choosing the dog. I don't need to be there for you to choose dogs. Like, well, we're kind of a family. I thought you'd want to help, be there when I made said selection, to give your input. But my mom wasn't interested in going to look at Honey. So I brought Honey home, and showed my mom, my mom met her. I don't think my mom was super impressed. 19 minutes. I was like, Mom, I think I want to take her right now to Tractor Supply and bathe her. Because she's real gross. I was like, I guess she was living outside for a while. She had run away and was living outside for a while. And so I leave right away, and her nails were so overgrown. she was 3 years old when I got her. I'm not sure if they had ever been cut. I cannot imagine an elderly woman cutting her nails, because she's a lot better now, but she was real bitey the first time I cut her nails. So they were really overgrown. I took her into Tractor Supply. I bathed her. All her hair fell out because she was infested with fleas. That would be why all her hair fell out. She was infested with fleas. So yeah, I bathed her. I gave her some flea medicine after a couple days. Um, her name came about because I was in the first picture I saw of her, I thought she was completely white. And then, that first day I went and saw her, and I saw her head, because she still had hair on her head. I saw that she had these lemon colored polka dots on one ear, and then she had some lemon splotches on the other ear. And so I was kind of like, I cannot go in this circle again like I did with Ruby, not being able to name a dog for weeks. And so I just threw a name out there. There wasn't a whole lot of thought put into it. I called her Honey because she seemed real sweet. And then I called her Lemon because that was the coloring that she had. It wasn't a liver color. It wasn't tan. It's actually lemon, the lemon color. And so she has a hyphenated first name. Her name is Honey Lemon. That's how she got her name. I just did not want to get myself. I mean, sometimes names come easy to me, and sometimes names do not come easy to me. June's name came easy to me. Dottie's name came easy to me. Ruby's name did not. I mean, maybe if I got to name her Snow White, it would have come easy, but my mom was emphatic that that was not going to be her name, even though she originally started out as my dog. Honey Lemon. She's a real odd dog. I think she drives my mom up the wall, and I don't feel it's Honey Lemon's fault. I believe Bryant told me she was half Staffordshire, half Labrador. To be honest, I don't see any Labrador in her. I mean, I could get her DNA test if I want to spend the money. I don't really want to spend the money. Because she's got the lemon coloring, not a lot of breeds have that lemon coloring. She's definitely got some bully breeder in her because she's got the bully cheeks. She's got those flat, really wide cheeks. So you can definitely tell she has bully in her. But I'm pretty sure she has Dalmatian in her because she's got a very Dalmatian-y body shape. She's got a deeper chest. Her haunches are very elongated. And she's got polka dots. So I'm pretty sure she's part Dalmatian. And the healthier she got, the darker her lemon coloring got, so that you didn't have to see it in the very best light. You can kind of see it in mediocre light now. And she started developing more lemon polka dots everywhere. So I'm pretty sure she's Dalmatian in Staffordshire. Would be my bestest guess. I gave her a middle name. Naming her Honey was a big mistake because turns out I use Honey as a pet name. Like, come here, baby. Come here, baby. My mom does it too. We both use Honey as a pet name, and we call the other dogs Honey by mistake all the time. Be like, come on, get out of the way, Honey. So it was a big mistake naming her Honey, but I didn't want to go back on that name. Most of the time I call her Lemon. And then I gave her a middle name of Custard because I'm obsessed with food things. I know, imagine a fat ass being obsessed with food. But, so her name's Honey Lemon, first name. It's hyphenated. And then Custard is her middle name. I was thinking about 25 minutes. I was thinking about giving her a second middle name so she could have a hyphenated first name and a hyphenated middle name. But nothing is quite fit into place yet. So at the moment, she is just Honey Lemon Custard, and I usually call her Lemon or Custard, one of the two. Yeah, I really don't call her Honey. It's her name. I don't call her Honey. I just call her Lemon or Custard. She's an odd duck. I have a feeling, because Bryant told me that his elderly mom got this hyper out of control dog when she was 1.5 years old. I got her when she was 3 years old. I cannot fathom an elderly woman being able to handle her. I just can't. I have a feeling she was locked up a lot because when I got her, she still does it. Now it's not nearly as severe. She circled constantly. And that reminded me of like documentaries of circus animals being locked up in tiny cages and all they do is spin in circles. And what else does she do that makes me think she was locked up a lot? Oh, I was watching an episode of Dr. Jeff Rocky Mountain Vet, and I know I'm not a veterinarian, or I don't know if there's such a thing as a dog psychologist, but she's a super neurotic dog. You can ask her to sit 50 times, and she'll sit all 50 times, but immediately her ass bounces back up. You know, you tell her to sit, she sits, and then she's up. Sit, she sits, and then she's up. And so apparently, according to Dr. Jeff, that is a sign that a dog has been crated or locked up early in life. Which would make sense because, again, I don't know how an elderly woman could have possibly handled her. My mom can barely handle her. And my mom, is older, but not elderly. So, yeah, there had to have been some way keeping her contained because she would have knocked you over or bowled through you or, jumped on you and knocked you over, scratched the shit out of you, especially, like what she did to my skin, and if you're elderly, then your skin is extra delicate, so, I don't know. What's my time? 28 minutes. The only health problem she really has is, she has acid reflux disease, and because she was never treated until I got her, because when I got her, I noticed, Bryant was like, she's got the coolest bark. You'll have to hear it when she barks, because her bark is so cool. Turns out her bark was so awesome because there was so much scar damage in her throat that it sounded weird. And I noticed when I got her that she was constantly licking her chops, just swallowing and licking her mouth. And so she was diagnosed with acid reflux and she takes a Pepcid once a day. The damage is really severe though. It's already done. She can't handle any pressure on her throat. When she barks, it sounds like if she tries to howl, she'll throw her head up in the air like she's howling, but no sound comes out. I find that kind of funny. And then after every time she attempts to bark at me, she gags, which is sad, but is also it's also kind of funny. I'm about to run out of time. I may charge the video in what time is it? 12. God, I'm tired. How did you get up for Declan's birthday? I guess I'll be back with part 4. I still haven't talked about Calliope, And then I'll finish up with honey lemon custard. She's got a couple nicknames. She's a good dog. Okay, I guess that's it. All the participants will be in the description box below. Thank you, ladies, so much for participating again. And I am so sorry this video is late again. And yeah, I was like, there has to be another S somewhere. Alright, that's it. Thank you, and adios.